And then he closed all our borders. Now, we had a good number of people put into hotels across the city. 2 days in, these people started ripping their hair out. 2 days. They started off praising the whole system, the luxurious hotels and blah, blah, and 2 days later they were arguing. That's how hard it is to be stuck at home on your own. But we want to prepare you for it because it might become your new reality. And that is why Dr. Ama Edwin is here with us. And I'm so excited. Last time she was here, she gave us some great education. We talked about suicide that time.
Yes, when the university, it happened on the university campus.
Yeah. This time around, we're hoping it doesn't come to that as we discuss self-quarantine.
Yeah.
Now, Doc, nice to see you. Good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
Maybe we'll start with those recent returnees who have been put up in these hotels. So like I said, they started off praising the system. Oh, the president has done well. Ghana government has done well. They put us in great hotels, putting out videos of themselves in plush, surroundings, enjoying the situation as much as they could under the circumstances. But just yesterday, 48 hours in, arguments, yelling matches, people defying and violating the conditions of the quarantine, up in arms. 2 days.
Yeah.
What's happening to them? What's leading them to this?
So usually when your movement is restricted, when you are quarantined, 3 main things that we all take for granted are affected: our autonomy, our connectedness, and our competency. I'll go into details. You and I have freedom of movement in this country. The laws work, and so unless it's a no-go area, you can go anywhere. If usually you are in a hotel, you can step out of your room, you can go downstairs to eat, you can do all of these are things we take for granted. But when you are quarantined, you are restricted to the 4 walls, or if it's a house and you are alone. And as human beings, there's something that happens. I mean, that's why, sometimes when people are in prison and they have the ability, they put all sorts of images on the wall so that you see other things beyond the 4 walls. You feel caved in. You feel claustrophobic. And there are some people who have claustrophobia. That's they get anxious when they are in very enclosed spaces. And that can be triggered because you don't know. The quarantine is not within your control. They are saying 14 days. It may extend to 14 days, but that is entirely out of your control, and that can be disconcerting. Then your connectedness. We connect a lot. Sometimes you just want to see people. I remember someone, not in Ghana, I was working with, actually in China, and you know that a lot of people move out during the Chinese New Year. So she was in an apartment block where most of her neighbors who were Chinese had moved out and had gone there, but because of the quarantine, they couldn't return to Wuhan. So in a huge apartment block, you step out, you don't see anybody, maybe 1 or 2, even when you can see the language, the impact that you are just here and you're not seeing anything, that lack of connectedness. Yes, you can try with it on social media, do video talking and everything, but there's something, let me say it in French, so when you see someone face to face, the impact, and if you can touch the person, you talked about the doctor touching your aunt and the impact it had. My clinical work is in palliative care, and so you have people with diseases, and sometimes they feel that they are being stigmatized. You touch them, the look on their face. Human touch, human contact is key. When you are under quarantine, you don't get that. And then competence, things that you could do ordinarily, you are not able to. So that's a huge amount of stress on you. And then the effects of stress, the basic thing, fight or flight. So for some of us, when we are stressed, we will run away, avoidance. We will withdraw. We will not talk to anybody. We think we can even can trigger an episode of depression. Then you have those who seem to fight, so they engage a lot, they are talking a lot, they are eating a lot, they are sleeping a lot, or they're not sleeping. That's all they have. Energy, you feel you can take on anything. So you're going to get that gamut, and then in between. But typically, the lack of control, it's like you are basically a prisoner. Yes, you are in a nice hotel, but what facility can you enjoy?
Yeah.
You can't even go down for breakfast or lunch or dinner. Your meal is brought to your door, and then when the person leaves, you go and take it. And they are being monitored so that they keep to the rules of quarantine. I know that there were a lot of people who were saying that these people are enjoying and other things. Now, would you really want to be in their position? You wouldn't. So it's that sense of not being in control and the fear that you might test positive. Yeah. That's the unknown. I'm sure those who have been tested are happy that at least the test have it. I mean, it's like ebo.
Yeah.
But the uncertainty, the fear of unknown, and the longer it takes for you to be tested, the longer your stress level. And for some people, they can decide that, look, it hasn't come, so I'll go on, I'm quarantined, but I'll assume and hope for the best whilst preparing for the worst. But there are others who will be so paralyzed and can't do anything and overwhelmed with fear, waiting for the results. So these are some of the things that can explain the reaction that we are seeing, from the praise and the pictures and the food, and some are in this hotel. I mean, the top hotels that most ordinary Ghanaians can't even afford to go for lunch. So initially people were peeved, but now
you'd rather not be in that position, right?
In that situation.
Now, you worked closely with the students in Wuhan.
Yes.
They were
not just in Wuhan, but the Hubei province and even the larger territory for a lot more.
Oh wow! Okay, so basically all the students who were
those who needed stuff. Yes,
indeed.
Yes.
So tell me about the specifics. What was it that they found difficult? The specific
what they found difficult was one. Okay, so when people feel that they're not getting adequate information. So initially, when I started, I realized that there was a lot of mistrust in the system. Are they trusting the numbers? They are not being told anybody, and most of them were on campuses. A few left outside campus. Someone would say, you've heard that maybe 12 people in this university have been exposed, but you don't know the details. I mean, even though no Ghanaian was exposed and has been exposed, that uncertainty was one thing.
The lack of information.
So it is key that those who need to give information give correct information and on time. Otherwise, there's mistrust, and people will say, oh, my source said this, my source said this, my source said. Then you put it out and it can create. So the lack of information when they couldn't trust, but eventually they realize that, well, this is the information that you have. It's either you trust that or you don't trust it, because you can't assume it's not the wrong thing.
I think the returnees have the same problem. In some of the videos, we've seen them argue that you're not telling us anything. You said you come and test us. Nobody has tested us yet. Why are we still here?
We have about 1,500 people. Yes. They are being tested in phases. So I guess maybe what they can be told is that we can't test all of you at the same time at once.
So it takes time.
Because even taking the it's not easy. They're taking an esophageal sample and oropharyngeal sample. So they're putting a swab, not a cotton swab, the regular one, but it's a special one. It goes into your nose. They squared it, and then when we're doing our training at UGMC, I was a test sample, and so I know it can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So the lack of information is not deliberate. They will be tested, and they are being tested. Then, in terms of what you have, I remember talking to some of them, and I would ask them about their meals. Ghanaians, we like our food, even when we are outside. And in this day and age, wherever you are, you can get things that can help you prepare Ghanaian food to eat. But in a lockdown where you were being given food and you had no choice, what do you do? Depending on some universities were getting great food, others were not. I remember talking to one person, and I had asked them, what did you eat? Then he said, said, oh, it was steamed rice and fried granite. So when I said, I wasn't sure. No, so dog, and katia yachi, and this one yes, chiwango, and I'm so wow. But you're able to eat, and his words were very telling. He said, "Oh, this is like eating fried rice and chicken in Ghana. The equivalent because of the lockdown. This is not the food they normally eat. But these are people who understood the times. Of course, you have the few outliers who would say that, oh, I wanted cereal, but they didn't bring me my brand of cereal. I mean, and I was like, okay, you are getting cereal.
Yeah.
3 times, but one of your issues is that the brand of cereal that you were used to. So those are the issues. So you are limited in what you can eat.
Lack of choice.
Lack of choice. Lack of choice. It's a survival. You want to be healthy. So far as the food has not gone bad, eat it. Sometimes you have to literally close your eyes and eat. I can share an example. I went to a Big Girls 125 and 6 form in Achimota, and I remember when we went from 1 form to water was a huge problem. And sometimes the water that you collect, if you were to drink it daytime, you would. So I'd always wait, lights out, put a clean hanky over the cup of water, pray and drink. And for the 5 years that I was in the Big Girls, I didn't have any issue with it. But I'm saying that sometimes you literally have to close your eyes and eat that. Yeah. So you may not have a lot of choice in terms of what you eat. Movement. Sometimes they wanted fresh air. Initially, they could walk the compounds. Then it got to a time they couldn't even walk the compounds at all. And even opening their louvers or windows. I remember one person asking that, doc, if this thing is supposed to be by droplets and aerosol, and I'm on the top floor, let's say 40th or something, and I open my windows, won't the virus, So thankfully, the person was doing one of these sciences courses, so we went in based on what she was studying and get her to know that it is okay, you can open your windows. It's not like at the floor that you were. So the fear of infection, that even if you want a breath of fresh air, you may be inhaling that. Then there were those who had other disease. You were sick. Ordinary things that would let you go to the hospital. A lot of them were not willing because there was initially a lot of infections happened within the healthcare setting among doctors, nurses, and even patients who had gone in. But what China did, especially Wuhan, was that they had designated hospitals that were not seeing COVID patients so that people could, because the same thing happened during the Ebola in West Africa. A lot of people with other conditions were not getting care. So yes, we are in emergency mode, but people also have ordinary things that can be treated that will kill them. In fact, chances are a lot more people, if we don't do it right, will die from the ordinary diseases than the COVID. So that's a balance. And so fear of even seeking help, and if you go, will the doctor examine you well, and will the nurse examine you, but are you also placing yourself at risk in that? And then the other thing too that we take for granted, water, because most of them drank bottled water. I hadn't actually thought about the fact that they were distributing. So sometimes you think, you know how you can pack bottles of, it happens sometimes at home, you have 10 boxes of bottled water you are drinking, and you think you have a lot of water. Then one day you wake up, there's no way, finished. If you don't replenish it. So that was another thing, the basic thing. They had a lot of support. The ambassador was amazing, having regular meetings with the leaders that I was part of, sharing. People were given the space to talk, even though sometimes I personally felt that, hey, this one penny now but I mean, he handled well. So I don't know whether Edward Boateng is listening. I doff my hat to you. You did amazing, and he's been support. So that is one thing that they did, but the communication was key, and that is why I'm emphasizing that, because most of the students said they could call the ambassador directly. Most of the students could call the ambassador directly. They could call one of the ministers. He was also Abu Osman, he was the acting head of chancellor. They had direct access, not just the leadership. And that was important to them, because when you feel caved in, when you want to come home and you can't, and you couldn't reach. But the biggest problem was from their families. I remember one man saying that, doctor, My mother doesn't do WhatsApp or WeChat. My mother will call me, an elderly woman, about 5 times a day, and she will talk her until her units remain. But I did realize that calls to China was cheap. And because sometimes I call directly, you speak for 15 minutes. I use a Vodafone and it was 2 CDs, and I was shocked.
Wow.
I called Cote d'Ivoire for 2 minutes and it's something else. You know, but that was a constant source of worry. They said no matter how often you reassure them, they didn't. And so there was the issue of if you don't take the calls, they'll think something has happened to you. So you have to take the call. So that constant thing, and of course the media. They said the media back home was not helping because they hear all these things in the media and they call. So if you tell them that you are okay, they say no. That is not what is trending in Ghana, A, B, C, and D. So correct information is key. Then the other thing that we need to look out for, especially when we are being quarantined, marital issues. Several of the people there, students, PhD, masters, and I know that, we've been having discussions on various platforms. I wear several hats. So I'm a doctor, a member of GMA, but I'm also a member of the Medical Women Association of Ghana and the Ghana Psychological Association. I remember there was a discussion on the Lady Doctors platform about the divorce, and people were like, but in this local who grant? And I said, you have no idea what is happening in China. I remember one guy telling me that, doctor, I see myself getting so angry now. Even when my children see me, they are afraid of me, because normally he would go to work, come back in the evening, spend a short time interacting, have fun, but this time you are caved in. So one, you are not working, you are not getting income, you still have to feed your family, you still have to pay your bills, so there was a lot of pressure on him. So things that maybe your wife or your husband will say that will not be an issue, when it is quarantine, it can be a serious issue. So we need to be on the lookout. If we ever get into that position, let's not take it out on our loved ones, especially the children, because no matter how stressed someone is, let's say your boss stresses you, how many of us will insult our boss, unless we've already decided we are leaving the job?
That's right.
But if not, it is those under us. So relationships can be affected. But I saw this video from the Shirleys, a Jamaican family, and they shared about what they do. And one of the things that was said, it was actually a 10-year-old, the last child who said, he said, we've grown closer to each other and to God as a family and as individuals. So yes, we may be locked down, we may be more stressed, we may be taking it up, but it's also an opportunity for us to grow. Some people were saying that Ghana should go on lockdown and then they'll be forced.
They should be careful what they wish for.
They should be careful what they wish for.
And what you're describing, that quickness to anger, that frustration, because you are locked into the four walls with these people, and there's no release valve. There's nowhere to go when you're frustrated, and you just get what's the word? Familiarity breeds contempt. Because
these are people you probably see in the morning, rush out in the evening, you come, you ask about my day. But if we're all there, nobody's going anywhere, nobody's doing anything, the least thing. And even me, sometimes I find myself, my son does something and it's my behavior. I can share this so that people can learn of it. They are home, right? So normally he would lock up my older son, take the trash, and I don't have to tell him to do that. But there was this one day, he's in Lower State, so maybe he was doing something and forgot. So I woke up, I slept before he did, but I woke up, went to the kitchen and realized that he hadn't emptied the bin. It was a Saturday. And it was 6. I went to wake him up on Running. So my husband asked me, which side of the bed did you sleep on? And then I realized that this is over and above the board. But also because I was straight, I saw what is coming. I monitor what's on social media. I get calls from all sorts of people with what is going on. So I realized that my stress level had gone up and I wasn't handling it well. So we need to be mindful of this and take time to deal with it. We need to deal with it.
Let's start talking some practical solutions here.
Sure.
And let's start with this one, the cabin fever.
The cabin fever.
Speed to anger and frustration and all that when you're locked in with people that you otherwise care about. What's the solution to it? How do you manage that?
So first, in every situation, there are things that are within your control. There are things that are not within your control. Being locked down is not within their control.
Right.
But what they do while they are locked down is within their control. So most of them will have their devices. This is the time to catch up on all the movies and things that you haven't been able to. This is the time to do things, reflect, put down writing. You can even start writing your story. You never know the book that would come out of that, but you first have to recognize that there are things you can do anything about, and the lockdown is one of them.
Right.
But you can control what you listen to, and that is the other thing. There's so many things out there. Too much information can be harmful. So even in reading information, get credible sources. Get credible sources. There are sources that are tested. So if you know that, let's say, Joy is a credible source, over the years they have done that, and you're reading something from Joy, you can run with it. But even that, before you even forward anything, check it. You see, I am so sick and tired of people saying that, oh, me, I just forwarded it. There was a case in India that someone had to pay a huge fine because there was something about a celebrity on social media, and the person forwarded it, and it was sued because it became a tort. It became a tort. This is libel because you have spread it. You didn't write it, but you have forwarded written thing that was defamatory. And the argument that I just forwarded it didn't hold. So that's a court ruling in India.
Wow.
We have the same jurisdiction. It is not far-fetched that it will happen in Ghana. The principle of persuasive precedence brings it to face. So we have to be sure. When we are not sure, and we can ask that, I saw this, can someone authenticate it or something that you can do, but don't forward the thing as gospel truth. We have to be careful. Get things from credible sources and share only that. And don't spend all your waking time reading. For me, my number is known, the same number on WhatsApp, but thankfully the WhatsApp is in a different room from the one that you can call me on. So over the weekend, I put it off. I came back and it's like almost all the platforms, 1,000 messages. That's like, where do I even start from? So I still have the but that is how I keep my sanity. The one-on-one messages I will read, but sometimes it gets too much and I don't want to feel paralyzed. I know that I have the ability to make a difference to, even if it's one person, it's still a difference maker. So control your mind. Don't be so, you are under lockdown, but don't spend all your time reading this and the conspiracy theories there and that. So what? Even if it was a biological weapon, it is here with us. What we need to do is to how to deal with. So please control what you read. Stay connected with the loved ones. Ideally, if you can make a video call, let them see, because some of them have children, some of them have spouses, some of them have friends that they want to interact with. So a video shot or an audio shot so that they know you are okay. Because they are also worried. It's really about a balancing act. They want to see you, but they also know, and you also don't want to take it home and infect them. Some of us have elderly parents staying with us, so if you rush and break quarantine, you are going to expose all of that. There are lots of books out there, and there's so many sites you can get good books there. We're so busy we don't read. This is an opportunity to do that. If you like comedy, just go to YouTube, get something love. There are things that you can do to distress.
Let's talk about the effect of lockdown on your health. Can there be some health implications?
Oh yes, that one is not even lockdown, just the quarantine. So we know the mind-body dualism, that was the one with the Descartian thing. That's not what we're working with. But our bodies produces hormones, and the hormones are stress-related. So, you know, there are some people who, when they even have evidence of stress, it presents physically. I actually had a patient who had depression, and her depression always presented with what we call as an acute abdomen, the kind of surgical abdomen. So most of the time, that was years ago when I was working at the psychiatric hospital. So whenever she had that, she would come, and we had the history. One time, she went to a general hospital. They operated on her because the typical presentation is like it's an acute abdomen. So this is something. We know about ulcers that can be precipitated by that. We know about diabetes. If you have diabetes and you don't manage your stress, it's going to affect your sugar. If you have hypertension, that goes without saying. Your blood pressure, strokes, all these things can happen. So it's not so much the fact that you are locked down, but the sense of helplessness. So it's like the 3 H's. You feel helpless, you feel helpless, and you feel hopeless.
Yeah.
So if you don't break the 3 H's, that can affect your health. So yes, the health aspects are there. But for those in quarantine, I'm sure if anybody is sick and they also let the authorities know, they'll be taken care of. People shouldn't be afraid to go to hospitals. We don't have a system where people can directly call their doctors, but for a lot of people, they don't need to go to hospital. They just need to call, and they'll be taking through certain things. We've been talking about OPDs. Should OPDs to be closed? Most people, let me not say most, but several people in Ghana are on medications. They don't know their names. People who are taking drugs for hypertension, diabetes, you'll be surprised. They don't know. They can describe their drug. But if people knew their medications and they are running out, then they wouldn't even need to go to hospital for the regular refills. You just go to a pharmacy, or your doctor can go a pharmacy, these deliveries. These are things we need to start looking at now. But again, as I said, if there is limited movement, my concern is people who are sick with conditions that can be treated but may end up being casualties of COVID-19, not because they have COVID, but because they couldn't access healthcare. And that is where we need to bridge the gap.
There are some people who will be in quarantine alone, like a lot of these travelers who have arrived. The lack of intimacy, you know, the lack of touch, like we talked about earlier. Well, what does that do to your mind? It's
tough. It is tough.
I'll tell you what, before you tell us more about that, here is the Joy Business Minute.
Welcome to the Joy Business Minute. My name is Darryl. The Chief Executive of Delex Finance, Ken Thompson, has described the rate cut by the Bank of Ghana as not enough to deal with the liquidity challenges in the financial sector. In a surprise move last week, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana cut its policy rate by 150 basis points in a bid to support the economy due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. The Registrar General's Department, as part of measures to contain the coronavirus, has urged the general public and clients to make use of its online services. The department is decongesting its offices. Some hotels in the country have heeded to the call to give away their facilities to be used as quarantine centers for Ghanaians and residents who arrive in the country over a 14-day period. One of such is the African Region Hotel, which says it took a group in on Sunday. And car firms are answering calls from governments to help make more ventilators and face masks to help out during the coronavirus pandemic. On Monday, Fiat began converting one of its car plants in China to start making about 1 million masks a month. That's your update.
In your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best on Joy 99.7 FM.
You better believe it. And it's 2 minutes past 9. We've just had the Joy Business Minute, and let me tell you, being stuck at home is not easy. It sounds like everyone's dream come true, right? You've got all these memes flying about how look, our grandfathers were called to fight the Second World War. We are being called to sit on the sofa and watch TV. Let's not mess it up. Well, I'll tell you, it's not as easy as you think being stuck within 4 walls, especially when you are on self-quarantine quarantine and you absolutely cannot leave. So today we're learning from Dr. Ama Edwin how to cope with that situation, because it might become your reality soon, if it isn't already. Some of you are at home on self-quarantine. We want to hear your experiences. We want to hear your questions. If you are thinking that it might happen to you in the future, you want to ask Dr. Edwin a question, we'll open the phone lines for you to do that shortly. But right now, though, let me remind you, GT Bank has the most amazing news for salaried workers. They've just slashed the interest rate on quick credit to 1.5% per month, so you can now access more money at the lowest interest rate possible. If you're a salaried worker with a GT Bank account, just dial *737*0#, select Payday Credit, and follow the prompts to access quick credit. No paperwork, no hidden charges. And the best part, you can access quick credit right now, wherever you may be. Just dial *737*0# and get started. GT Bank Quick Credit, instant cash when you need it at only 1.5% interest. Call 0302-611-560 or the toll-free number 0800-124-000. Do this for further inquiries or assistance. Guaranteed Trust Bank, wouldn't you rather bank with us? Now, are you paying so much for very little data? Do you run out of data and wonder where all the money went so fast? Well, it's time to turn to the network that gives you more data for less. Just dial *700# and enjoy too much data on Vodafone. Getting too much data on your bundle from Vodafone is like asking for one thing and getting so much more. So, for only 10 Ghana cedis, you get 1.5 gig for 15 days. 20 Ghana cedis will give you 4 gig for a month, and 50 cedis will give you a whopping 10 gig for 1 month. And that's not all. Even when your data bundle runs out, you still get to use the WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram for free. That's absolutely free, and it's the magic of *700#. So what are you waiting for? Dial *700# now and browse and chill Zala on Vodafone. So if you're looking for a 1-seater, a 2-seater, 3-seater, L-shaped sofa perhaps, crafted to the finest detail and available in various colors for your home, office, or hotel, then look, if what you need is comfort, durability, quality, and perfect finishing, then look no further than Latex Foam. It's your one-stop shop, whatever your choice and budget may be. Latex Foam, your partner for life. Now, thanks for your messages. Let me read a couple of them. This one says, "Hello, good morning, could you talk about quarantine? I'm about to enter into quarantine myself. This has become an imperative requirement in preparation for working on an offshore facility, FPSO, in Ghana. The quarantine will last 14 days, and once I complete it with no issues, then I can be deployed offshore to keep the lights on in Ghana." And you didn't add your name to that, but that's fine. We thank you so much for the hard work that you are preparing to do. Let's read another one. This one says, "Good morning. My name is Isaac, and I am writing from Tema, Newtown. I wish to write about the quarantine exercise going on in our country today. I'm informed that our people are kept in hotels, which I think would be too expensive for our state in these trying times. However, I wish we would use the affordable housing units we have in Tema Community 25 and Bong Community and Dawa Industrial City and many other places which are spread all over the country to save the country some money. May God bless Ghana." Okay, thanks for your messages. Now let me ask you, are you at home? Are you stressed out? Do you have concerns? Give us a call and let's have your concerns addressed. Okay, the numbers 0302 216 541 or 0244 340 437. All right, 0302 216 541 or 0244 340 437. Our guest is Dr. Edwin. She'll answer all your questions. She was just answering one of mine before we took a break. Oh, by the way, social media messages on the Super Morning Show are brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. And yes, Dr. Edwin was about to answer my question, but I think perhaps we'll take a few calls and then you can answer them all together. Here is Kofi calling from Kumasi. Hello, Kofi. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, handsome Kojo. How are you?
Hey, you again. I'm fine, thank you, Kofi. So
you are so handsome and strong.
You are very kind. God bless you. Hello, Kofi. Oh dear. Oh, we lost Kofi there. But Kofi, call us back, okay? We want to hear your question, Kofi in Kumasi. You can call us to 0302 216 541 0244 340 437. Okay, let's talk about it. Self-quarantine How difficult is it? And what are your concerns? Are you already in self-quarantine, or are you forced to work from home because your kids are off school? Talk to us about the experience so far. Mohammed is in Kumasi. Good morning, Mohammed.
Yeah, good morning, Daniel. How are you?
It's Kojo, and I'm fine, thank you,
Okay.
Mohammed.
Sorry, Mr. Kojo. Yeah, my this thing appeal to Ghanaians is we should abide by what the experts are telling us, and what we should follow the protocols, and what we Ghanaians our true know is too much. Everything we know. No argument in this time. We should focus, praying, and follow what the experts are telling us, the doctors, and those politicians who are doing politics into that. I mean, I'm saying that anybody who put politics into this, God will not forgive him or her. This is a hard time for us, all of us, the entire world, including Ghana. So our destiny is to pray and follow the protocols. That is all. That is my suggestion.
Thank you for that, Mohammed. Thanks for calling. Chris is in Suhum. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm not bad, So, what's your question for the doctor?
Oh, it's not necessarily a question, but a contribution.
Sure, go ahead.
Being quarantined in the house with the kids has not been easy. They keep on disturbing us. They go to be in school, they might learning, and we stay at home and fight body. So it's never been easy for us, but we are managing by God's grace.
How are you coping? Tell us a bit about the experience. What are you doing to cope?
Well, I'm just watching television, helping my wife with household chores and stuff. Always in the house.
Wow, it can't be easy. All right, well, good luck to you, and keep trucking. Eric is in Banana Inn. Eric, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah. Kojo, you know what? What I don't understand is that when you go to market to buy food stuff and the price has gone up, and I don't know what is going on, the president needs to address this thing, because it seems like right now the economy, when you have even 50 Ghana, you go to the market, you can't even buy what you want. And I don't get it. We want the information minister to let Ghanaians know that this is not, how should I say, the prices have to go up. I don't know, because people in the vulnerable, the people that they don't have money, they can't even be at home. They have to go out there and work and get money. And the way things are going, I don't get it. When I don't know what is going on. The president needs to tell them, don't hike prices. What is going on, please? I need answers. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Thanks so much for calling. Kwame is in McCarthy Hill. Good old Kwame. Nice to hear from you. Good morning.